Please can you remind me, if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? The purple angel, purple angel, purple angel, you're next to me.
Well, welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm Lori LeBay, the host and founder of Alzheimer's Speaks, and I'm just thrilled you're going to join us today. We're going to have a really interesting conversation with our guests regarding sensory chairs. But before we get started with that, we always get a lot of new listeners from around the world, so I always like to explain a little bit about who Alzheimer's Speaks is and what the heck we do. Bottom line, Alzheimer's Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care culture from crisis to comfort around the world. And we believe that the only way that we're really going to make a difference with this disease is to join forces and share knowledge and have some everyday conversations about life with dementia and how we care for those with this diagnosis in order to be able to remove stigmas attached to memory loss and those living with the disease. They deserve to be able to live with purpose and have a filled life. And together I know that we can help everybody understand the true needs and find some great resources along the way here. At our core, Alzheimer's Speaks believes that collaboratively is really the only way we are going to win this battle against dementia. And I know that our efforts are working, and that has to do a lot with our audience. You see, we were named the #1 influencer online regarding Alzheimer's according to ShareCare and Dr. Oz. And we did not do that alone by any stretch of the imagination. It was actually you, our listeners, sitting, listening, and liking our show, going to alzheimersspeaks.com and liking our homepage and sharing our different initiatives and projects that are going on. You see, all of us have these great spheres of influences, and yours might be a Twitter tribe. It might be a Pinterest population that you have. It might be your Facebook friends. It might be your LinkedIn colleagues. But in all of those circles, there are people that are dying for information, and they just don't know where to go. And so when a trusted resource says, hey, this is good information, click on this, it just makes it a little easier when they're ready to reach out and grab it, because there's so much denial that goes on with this disease. So again, I just really want to thank you, and I encourage you to continue to make a difference by sharing knowledge. Everything we do is free, and again, we try to be non-biased as well in our information. Also, if you're listening, maybe you could be our next guest. You can go to alzheimersspeaks.com, and in the header there's a big contact button. Just reach out to me. Tell me your story. You might be somebody living with dementia. Maybe you are currently caring for a loved one or have in the past, and you've got some thoughts to share, what you've learned along the way. Maybe you're an author, a movie director, a singer, a songwriter, a researcher. Maybe you're an advocate and have a project that you want the world to know about. Give us a jingle, because we would absolutely love to talk with you. Now, before I introduce our guest here, I do want to just give you a couple of opportunities to grab onto some free opportunities. One is with FreshBooks, which is an accounting system, and if you're like me and need a little help getting organized, you can go to this URL. It's gofreshbooks.com/alive, gofreshbooks.com/alive, and you can get a free 30-day trial and see how you like it. Another available offer for you is with Audible books, which is a great way. Today we're so busy, it's hard to sit down and actually read a book. Sometimes it's nice to listen in the car or when you're going for a walk or maybe at work just doing some multitasking. You can take advantage of a 30-day trial with Audible by going to audibletrial.com/social. That's audibletrial.com/social. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest today. I saw his product, and I'm just so excited about it, and we've been trying to get him on the show. We've just had conflicts with our schedule, so I'm really happy to have him with us today. Noel Wareing is an ex-Army medic and veteran who spent 12 and a half years in the British Army treating people and running medical facilities all over the world. He is very patient-focused and believes everybody deserves a good standard of care. He is married and has a stepson and lives in a small town called Cronwall over in the southwest coast of the UK. So welcome, Noel. How are you doing today?
Yes, very well. Thank you, Laurie. Yourself?
I'm doing great. The sun is out, and it's not raining here in Minnesota, so whoop, whoop. It's
that's always good there. It's very, very wet and very cold and rainy here, having Cornwall, so that's, it's different weather altogether here.
Yeah, we've got kind of hot and humid going on today, but it's just nice to have a little dry and the sun out. That's for sure. Well, Noel, I'm really excited to have you with us today. But before we get started, I always ask every guest this question, and that is: have you been personally touched in your own life with dementia, maybe by family, friends, coworkers, or neighbors who have had the disease?
No, Laurie, and whether you look at it as fortunate or unfortunate, from whatever perspective you look at it, I haven't been touched by dementia personally. However, before I left the Army in the UK, I used to work in several places, including care homes for people with dementia, and that kind of helped me see what situations and difficulties people encounter on a daily basis.
Okay. Well, that's you're very lucky and one of the rare ones that haven't been personally touched, and I hope that continues for you.
Thank you.
What got you interested in sensory health care? I mean, over here in the U.S., we've been kind of almost beating a dead horse trying to get people to believe that sensory is really important in terms of how we feel and bringing people comfort. And so how did you get involved with it?
When I started with Apollo Healthcare, the company I work with at the moment, obviously being an ex-Army medic, I've always had an interest in anything medical and anything like advances in treating different conditions. So I've always had an interest in that field. But I saw this product. They actually saw it when they went to Europe at an exhibition, and they brought it to the UK. And when I saw it, I just thought, how fantastic is that? I wanted to see the effect of it on people with dementia and numerous sensory conditions. Both sensory stimulation would or could help. And it's been an absolute eye-opener for me. The more I saw it and the more I saw the results of people when they sat in it or when they were treated with it, when they used it, it just kind of, the more I saw it, the more interested I got, the more I wanted to know more and how it worked.
Mm-hmm. So can you explain to people, what the chair looks like? Because needless to say, we're on radio. We've got kind of a picture on it in the promo there. But what makes this chair so unique?
Well, it's all about the sensory aspect of it. Someone with dementia, say, who's sort of they're slightly annoyed, they're aggressive, they've got to a point when they're aggravated, not aggressive, but aggravated, and they need to be calmed down. There are so many things about it. It was designed by a Danish occupational therapist who researched for years different conditions and how they affect different people, and used what is the body's sixth sense, proprioception. And that I'll go into that a little bit later, but that's what it is. It's kind of you get someone to sit in it, and it has 4 flaps which come over it. But the chair itself is full of weighted balls. They're little small plastic balls like the size of a ping pong ball, and they sort of, as the flaps fold over and they come into contact, because they're weighted, they kind of work in a calming sense. So people have said they feel secure and they feel calm and safe in it. So it works on that basis of calming people, of using the sensory stimulation and the sensory integration to help people to feel calm and secure. And it's almost like not exactly going back to the womb as such, but it's almost like that very calming feeling that you get. And people have almost fallen asleep in the chairs. They are that comfortable and they work that well.
Well, I was just in the emergency room last night with a granddaughter who's 1.5 years, and they needed to take blood, and she does not like that process.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
This is the first time I saw them wrap 3 of her limbs, so they had, 1 arm and 2 legs in a blanket. And, they were talking just about that. One was, it was to help control her, but one, the other was to help her feel safe because, with little ones, you just bundle them all up and, tie them up tight, in those little balls.
Yeah, yeah.
And they just feel safe. And there's a fine line between feeling threatening and feeling safe and comfy, And so I think it's just a fascinating idea to have that, to have a chair that can basically give you a hug,
Yeah.
That's to me what it reminds me of. And to our listeners, I have not seen this in person, but it just looks like a really, really cool concept. And I guess I would sum it up as in terms of being hugged. Is that appropriate to say, or am I way off base?
Yeah. No, you are spot on. There used to be an advert for a soup over here, and it was called Bachelor's Soup in a Mug. They used to say on the advert, it's like a hug in a mug. And because when you poured it, obviously it's nice and comforting. It was hot, and all the things that soup is, and that's what people have said. It's like a hug, and that's what they say. It definitely feels like you're being hugged by and even in the catalogue itself. And I will. I'll send you a copy of the catalogue itself through digital means. I'll send you an email copy of the catalogue. But it does, it has got things in there where people say, it's like being hugged. It's like sort of being cuddled, like a mother's swaddle, like you're being cuddled by your mother. But it's not restrictive, So it's a totally different sense. But it's great. I mean, it's going down very well, I must say.
Okay. As long as you have a good relationship with your mom, it would feel good.
Yeah.
It might trigger something else, but for most of us, that would be really soothing. So really neat. Can you tell us some of the scientific research behind the sensory chair and these little balls and how they work?
Right. Well, okay. What they've done is they've researched. They've done a lot of research behind this, and basically it works on the sixth sense. Obviously, you have the body has 5 senses, but you also have touch, and it's all about the proprioception part of it. The sense has receptor organs in the muscles and joints, which send out signals and messages to the brain, basically to calm the nervous system. So if you think about it in a normal person, if you get stressed or a little bit agitated, you tap your feet or you go for a walk. But with somebody who hasn't got the ability, they've got separate sensory deprivation or problems, they can't do that. So if you think of the stimuli, when you touch your skin, your brain registers the stimulus from your skin and gives us a sense of our body's boundaries, whereas the balls in the product give light, evenly distributed pressure along your body. If you think about it when you're wrapped in the chair, and it gives us along those points, helping the brain register the body to give to a far greater extent than contact in one area. So if you think if I touched you on the arm, your body would register I was touching you on the arm. But if you're surrounded by the chair and the blankets, we also do blankets, then it's very technical really, but it's like you're totally covered. There's always, the balls always move, so they're always moving around. And so you're constantly being stimulated in that way, and it's constantly moving. And they have got some scientific research about it. What I'll do is I'll give you a quote from the catalogue, which basically comes directly from the company, and it says, the basic idea behind the products comes from theories about sensory integration, theories which are based on what we know about the interaction between bodily sensation and the way sensation affects behavior and participation in daily activities. The product contains plastic balls which stimulate the sense of touch and the muscle joint sense through their weight and deep, evenly distributed pressure, increasing body awareness and calming the user, which is exactly what happens. So
it's really neat. I never thought of that, but when you said the balls, I mean, when you're being hugged, I mean, that person is living and breathing, and so there is just a natural movement that exists. And if not, then it's just almost like a weighted blanket that would be restrictive and and would make you feel not normal and maybe even cause some anxiety, if you're locked in against your will. But I can really see where the difference could occur, emotionally, psychologically, as well as physically, in terms of experiencing the chair. Very neat. Now, with the chair, do you do, because I know aromatherapy is big too, do you ever mix the two together at all, or are they totally separate?
It's a totally separate entity, but we do work with occupational therapists quite a lot, physiotherapists and people within that sort of field, the healing field, the aromatherapy, sort of reflexologists and all that sort of stuff. And we work with private practitioners a lot who deal with patients and clients from people with stress and anxiety right through to people, with elevated conditions. And we work together with anyone really who's got an interest in the product and who's got an interest in seeing how it works and what it can do. Mm-hmm. But normally we work, we'll just work with anybody who's got an interest in it because we're so enthusiastic about it.
Okay. I didn't know if there was anything in the chair where somebody could add, an aroma of their choice or something, because I know sometimes when I go get a massage, the massage therapist will just add something to the kind of the head cushion, for my choice. So I didn't know if there was anything in that mode that you had worked with or are working with in terms of design with something like that. But I know that there's diffusers and there's so many different ways to have that element things you could use.
Yeah. I suppose you could use that or candles or something like that to sort of bring the whole environment into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, interesting. What kind of response are you seeing, from the dementia field specifically, and then from caregivers as well?
It's kind of as you said. Some people are very skeptical about the whole sensory thing, and it's getting them into the chair, or covering them with a blanket, or showing them the products. People say, looks all right, all that sort of stuff. But we're getting a really fantastic response in the field with the Stranger products, and we've had people in care homes or in environments where they're under, like Peter was saying, like a sheltered accommodation or something like that, and they're agitated, and the carers. The whole thing is just a string of events, I think, where the carers are stressed because the people they're looking after are quite stressed or agitated, and they're trying to calm them down, and it's a whole series of events. But what I've found is once the people they're caring for, the caregivers themselves, once they're calm, then the stress is taken away from the carer, but for a short time sometimes it can be taken away from the carer. And it's absolutely fantastic to see the results, because not only is the caregiver not stressed, but the person they're looking after isn't stressed. It's absolutely fantastic. There was a particular lady in a care home that I visited, a lady with dementia, and she was wandering up and down the corridors all day and some of the night. And the carers were totally stressed about it. They couldn't, they didn't know what to do. And they came to us to to look at this. The family came in and had a look at the chair, and they said, "Oh, it's a bit odd. It looks a bit odd." But they sat in it, and they said, "Oh, it's so comfortable." And we got the lady into it. It took me 50 minutes to get her into it with all the flaps over her because she was quite agitated. And unbelievably, within about a minute and a half, she'd started to calm down. And what you find with people when they get in the chair is that the flaps that go across your lap, they put their hands on and they start to stroke it. They start to stroke them and feel and touch the material and the weighted balls, and they kind of find themselves sort of their minds taken off it. So whatever they're doing, they tend to kind of focus on that, and then everything changes. Okay. So it's very interesting to see.
What kind of material is the chair in the flaps? Are they made out of the same material, or? Yeah,
it's like a hard, not hard, but it's like a very hard wearing, shall I say, sort of material. I think it's a mix of nylon and polyester, but I can find out definitively what it's made of. But it's basically, it can be washed at 65 degrees in the washing machine. The cover, it's just a cover on the chair. It actually comes off, and the flaps themselves unzip, and the balls that are in them are in nets, so they come out. You can then take the cover off the chair, wash it at 65 degrees, and the whole thing can be washed and wiped so that it's totally clean. I mean, to have that level of being able to clean it at 65 degrees is quite good, because most care homes and most institutions will want to wash it at quite a high temperature.
Yep. Yeah, well, because from the picture, it almost looked like it was like a leather or a pleather, type material, and I was thinking it might not be able to be washed. But wow, what a great concept for that, and I can see where people would be intrigued, because most chairs don't move. They kind of mold to you, like all the beds they're talking about nowadays. Everything molds to your body and stuff, but to have that movement would be intriguing and interesting, and kind of just spark interest in terms of what is this, what's going on. So, and what a great easy diversion then, like you said, for someone who's agitated. A simple little process like that. What kind of response are you getting from people? Do you have, I know you had given us the one quote, do you have any other quotes or stories that you can share about the chair?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, on a daily basis, I go in and see people with dementia or ADHD. I mean, the thing about these products, and the chair in particular, and the blankets, we do so many stuff, is they're not only for dementia, but anybody with sensory disturbances, sleep disorders, stress, all these sort of things. But we go in and see a myriad of different people. We've got people with, I had a child with ADHD whose mother came in to see us, and this was the blanket in particular. She said, "Oh, whatever you do, just ignore him. He'll misbehave while he's here, because he always does. He's got ADHD." And because the blankets come in half, they zip in half for easy washing, and I just said, "Can I just drape this over you?" And within sort of 30 seconds, a minute, he was curled in a ball on the floor with half the blanket over him, and just said, "I'll go to sleep now." And she was amazed. She was totally amazed. Because
I'm buying one of those.
yeah. She was like, "I'm having one of those. How much are they?" It's just incredible, because it's such a versatile product. It's easy. It's a big bulk, the chair, but it's easy to carry. It's got 2 handles on it. You can carry it around. You can just put it in a sensory room, which is where most of ours go. They go in a sensory room, or they go into private homes. And I've even got kids with a myriad of conditions, including ADHD, using them as gaming chairs, because they just sit there, play the PlayStation, and they're it's a 2-in-1, isn't it? The mother and the father just sort of, let the child sit there and play their PlayStation or whatever they're playing, and they stay calm. It's a win-win situation for most people, which is why I think it's so popular. It's just, not everybody, you can't fit 100% of people into it and it will magically work. But 99.9% of people that get into it are absolutely blown away by it. They're just fantastic. They just love it, how fantastic it is.
No, I like the ingenuity to put handles on to be able to move it around, and that's not something you see with everyday chairs. Now, do these recline over here in the U.S.? The recliner is our big relaxing chair that embraces us. Do these recline at all, or there's really no need for that because you're just...
No, I don't think there's any need for it in the sense that if you once you've got a picture there, I think, and then you can see that the back's quite sort of rounded, and then we have a taller one which is quite wide and quite round, and it has a cushion on one side and balls on the other, so you sit on either or. But this one, the main one we sell, I have to say, is just it's like a huge bag of weighted balls underneath you, and then you're surrounded basically by this whole sort of by this whole chair. It just surrounds you, and it makes you sit in a way that you're almost upright, but you're slightly reclined. So when you sit in it, the balls mould around you and around your legs and your backside, and then they kind of you don't sink into the chair as such, but it holds you, if you like. So although it doesn't recline, it's very comfortable to sit in because you're not in a totally upright position, shall we say. Okay.
Now, in looking at the picture, there's like a lime green one and then another green one, and one you're sitting in, and it looks like there's a little ottoman that goes with it. Is that true? Or is that...
what was that? A little...
It looks like an ottoman or something that you'd put your feet up on.
like a little footstool type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we can. What we do is we get them as a pair, and they come in as a pair. But if someone doesn't want to put their feet up, then you don't have to have the footstool. But a lot of people go for the footstool because it's great. Because if you've got a carer who is looking after somebody, and the person in the chair doesn't always use a footstool, you can have the carer sit on the footstool, because it's a double thing then. The carer sits on it, because that is also, it's like you say as an ottoman, but it's got balls on the top of it, so that if you're lying in the chair, then your calves are on the balls on the chair, on the centre stool, and you're surrounded by balls on the chair itself. So your body is in contact with the sensory aspect of the chair at all times.
Okay.
But we find a lot that carers, if the footstool's not been used, they perch on that, and then they talk to the person that they're looking after, the caregivers, and that kind of gives a double-edged thing, if you like. They're sat on that, so they're getting a sensory feedback while they're talking to their client or the person they're looking after. And it just, everybody's relaxed. It's great. It's fantastic.
Well, and we do mirror. I always, when I go speak, I always tell people half the time, we're the problem. No, we're the one walking in with the attitude. They were perfectly fine till we showed up. And so if we can be de-stressed and calm, that's what we're mirroring. And I think so many times we forget that, the importance of that. And it's a huge, huge factor that really needs to be taken into consideration. When we're interacting with somebody with dementia. I also love that this chair is usable really for anybody. It works great with dementia, but like you said, for ADHD, and I mean the list goes on and on and on. I mean we all want to feel comfortable. We all want to feel like life is hugging us, and that we're safe. and so they're really, I can't think of too many people who wouldn't appreciate the chair. Probably somebody who doesn't like a hug. You know, I got a couple of friends like that. You know, just that they don't like that. But you know, it's very few really in numbers. And if you can get people kind of over the hump in terms of just trying it, you know, because it does look different and it's going to feel different, and people get weird with change, you know, and uncomfortable with that. And so it's got to be really kind of fun to watch people maybe push back and then all of a sudden go, oh, no, I don't think I will get up. I think I'll just stay here a little longer, you know, with that. Now, do you distribute these at all in the U.S. or is it just over in the U.K.?
Well, we've got we do a lot of them in the UK, but we are looking at sort of branching out into the US. We already sell. Well, we've got what we've got is we're seating specialists. So when this came up, the opportunity to sell this, you know, we snatched it with both hands because all we do is seating. So we do pressure care chairs. So for people that are stuck in bed and they want to get out of bed, we've sold several of our chairs over to the US. So we ship all the time. We've shipped in the last month. We've probably shipped 3 chairs to the US. So what we want to do is we want to then, you know, kind of push this or put this over to the US because we feel that it's something that is working so well in the UK and the rest of Europe that you know, why not? It's a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, I am just sitting here thinking, and I'm actually going to meet a friend who's coming in town who works for a company, and they do it's sensory, but in a different sense. They do ceilings and walls, and we'll have you know, nature scenes and things. And I just think, oh my gosh, those would both be so great in a sensory room. And so many people don't even understand what a sensory room is. But even if you didn't sell for one another, just as a compliment, to be able to refer people, because I think a lot of people are trying to create that comfortable setting. I should connect you with my friend Ray Ward with the Sky Factory and see if there's any ways to work together with that to be able to get more people to know about your sensory products. That would be really cool. They have an actual trailer they go around with to be able to show people, and I just think, oh God, they could put one of those right in there. You know? but you know, I'm talking for somebody else's company that I have no right to do. No,
that's all right. It's fine because we do actually work with sensory dealers over here. What we term them as sensory dealers, people who create sensory rooms for schools, learning disability centres, dementia homes, other homes. You know, everybody who works together. What we do is we say to them, look, you know, if you want to work with us, that's absolutely fine. Or if you want to, you know, sort of take the product on and put it into the sensory rooms you've got, we work together with a lot of those type of people, which I assume, which your friend Ray does that sort of thing, puts up sensory rooms and does all that. And it's that sort of thing we do as well, because we obviously appreciate that there are people out there who not only put equipment into the sensory rooms, but they also start them from scratch and they construct them from scratch. So, you know, we're always happy to work with other people on that.
Wonderful. Well, I will definitely make a connection for you there. What for you has been your biggest surprise about working with the sensory chairs and the other products that you have?
I think it's just the way people react to them when they use them. You know, one person said to me, it's actually a family member whose mother had dementia, and he said, you know, she's obviously showing the normal signs of dementia, and she gets very agitated because, you know, and sometimes she doesn't remember us, and it's so frustrating for both of us. And, you know, she can be like that one day and then have a perfectly good conversation with us the next day. But when we put her into the chair, she was slightly agitated. And he said, God, it's like flicking a switch. It's like flicking a light switch. She's just totally changed in such a short space of time. And I think that for me, as a medic, as someone who's served in the army and treated lots of people, seen different products come through, and been around sort of different products for a long time. I think I've been sort of in the medical field about 20 years now. And it's just the surprise of seeing people's faces, of the families when they see it work, and of the people who are using it. It's just that, that change in their demeanor and their mood. And it still surprises me. It's just been the biggest surprise to me that something so simple in its concept can work so well in a field of different conditions. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, people.
A great sense of purpose and of pride you must feel, in seeing that change. I just think of, little things that would help my mom, and just as a care partner, just what relief that would bring me, to know that she was peaceful. That's just such like you said, a de-stressor for care partners, or for communities or facilities or hospitals, whatever it might be, where people are, what a reduction on staff need, when they're not having to deal with somebody who's agitated, because that can have a ripple effect, as we all know. When so that's just a wonderful tool and product for people to be able to use. And and typically I would refer to a chair as a product, but it really is a tool. In a lot of ways, it's not just your standard chair by any stretch. And I think more people need to know about what you guys are doing. What are some of the other products? You had mentioned a blanket. Are there some others as well?
Yeah. We've got we have vests, which a lot of children with ADHD use and schools use. These are especially useful for children or adults with learning disabilities or ADHD. We've used them a lot in schools and learning centres, but anybody can use them. You can wear them, and they're really useful because they give you the same effect, but they're a vest you can walk around with. You just zip it on and walk around with it. There's something we use with some dementia patients called the Need Me, which is it's like a thing you put on your lap. So you'd sit there in a chair, perhaps a normal chair, and it goes over your lap, and that has the weighted balls in it, and it's got 2 pockets in it and a little key ring thing, so you can attach a key ring on there so they can fiddle with that, and then you've got the pockets where they can sort of put their hands in, and they can feel the balls between them and their hands, so they can sort of stroke them. And it's all about the sensory aspect of it, of course. So we've got that. There's also the blankets, which are useful for people who sleep. We all know that all conditions are helped with a good night's sleep. So we have different blankets. We have 3 different blankets. And we also have things like cushions and footstools as well. And we also have something called a My Base, which is a huge inflatable mattress with 4 pockets, if you like, with balls in, and they're useful for like kids' schools or kids with cerebral palsy or things like that, and they can sort of lie on that or they can throw themselves around on it. It's a really good piece of kit.
Oh, neat. Well, you guys are very diverse, and I just love the whole concept of this. I think it's absolutely fantastic. What is can you tell me like what the average chair runs, and is that something that's possible to share with our audience?
Well, in the price range or the chair.
Mm-hmm.
So you in price.
Mm-hmm.
The price in UK pounds is about £980. excluding that. So I suppose for the chair itself, if I give you a quick workout here, because I don't know, obviously, everything fluctuates against the dollar, of course.
Yep.
So if I was to say a centre itself, if you have both things, it normally works out at £1,134, which that's British pounds plus VAT. But that works out as it's not, people aren't normally worried about the price of it. The price of it, when you think of it as a sensory, as a tool itself, as you said, it's a tool.
Yep.
And you think of other things you buy on the market that are almost as expensive.
Oh, yeah.
It works
and
out.
I'm thinking, the addeds you have on for value are that it's easy to clean, it's easy to move, it's portable, it has multiple uses. I mean, you can spend, a lot of money just on a recliner, here, and not get, the added value that you guys have with this. And so I think I can see where this would be really, really worth it in both a home and a commercial setting. And I'm just amazed that you have, you guys are just so far more advanced than we are here in the U.S., but even to hear that you have sensory rooms in schools and stuff, and it's like, oh, what a thought, what a concept, We got to catch up to you guys in a lot of ways with stuff. And so I'm, like I said, I'm just honored to have you on the show to be able to talk and share with our audience this resource that I think a lot of people will be interested in. What's the best contact information for people to reach out to you, Noel?
What I'll do is it's probably getting me by email would be the easiest way, because then of course they can just fling me an email and I can sort of reply to that with any questions, answer any questions they've got, or even send them a quote through if they're interested in looking at it. I will of course give you. I'll send you over, if that's okay with you, Laurie, an electronic brochure so they can look at the brochure itself. And then they can sort of look and read it, because it's got case studies in there of people who have been treated, have used it, and the results of those case studies. Because she did it. So it was published in Denmark, and it was done in the Journal of Psychiatry in 2011. She published a research paper. So it's all sort of in there, but if I send you that and my contact details, my email address, then people can contact me through that.
Okay. And your email is Noel at APOLLO dash and then healthcare.com. So Noel at Apollo-healthcare.com.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I am writing my introduction to you to Ray, and hopefully some of our listeners will reach out to you as well. I just think this is a wonderful opportunity and something I have not seen here in the U.S. And not that it's not here, but if it is, it's not very well known. And I just think this would be a wonderful, wonderful addition in so many different settings. So I thank you for your time with us today. Any last comments you have for our audience at all?
Well, just thanks for listening, and I hope if anybody's interested, they just get in touch with me. I can give as much information as possible, and thanks. Keep doing what you're doing, Laurie. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. I've worked with a Purple Angel in the UK now for the last sort of 6-7 months, and I've learned so much about the condition and the people and the carers, and it's just a real eye-opener for me, so it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you and your listeners.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your continued work and your collaboration. Appreciate it. And in the meantime, I'll keep you top of mind, and I might even just add you to my PowerPoint presentation in terms of I go around and speak a lot.
people are always looking for different ideas and stuff. So I think I will add this and the link to the show and the website in here so that people can have that information as well. So again, thank you. Appreciate it. For all of you that are new to the Alive and Social Network, you can check out Apples to Apples on Sunday night and see if Scott and Drew Applebaum, who are a father and son team, how their discussions come out, and if Dad's always right or not, or if his son beats him out sometimes. Family dynamics is always fun to listen to. Our last radio show, we just were talking about technology in dementia. We had Peter Zimmerman on with us for an interesting talk. Some of our others was the tightrope of sanity when caring for a parent with dementia and the detoxing of caregivers. Our last dementia chat, was on July 26th, and we discussed about how decision-making changes as this disease progresses. And we also talked about driving and what it's like to make the decision to stop driving. And one of our experts, and our panel is always made up of people actually who are living with dementia, talked about she made the decision to give up driving, turn in her keys, and sell her car. Our next dementia chats will be August 9th. They are always free. You can go to our website at alzheimerspeaks.com, click on Initiatives and Projects, and just scroll down to Dementia Chats to get that link. Our last Conscious Caring interview, which is a video interview, we talked with Vince Angaro, and he is with the Alzheimer's Music Fest. And every year he does this huge music festival, and this year I believe it's August 6th down in Atlanta. So if you're in the area, please check him out. If you're in the Dubuque area of Iowa, I will be there August 10th. We're going to be at the Mindframe Theater in Northeast Iowa. And we are going to be doing a premiere of the Hollywood film His Neighbor Phil with a little talk back. And then on August 11th, I'll be at the Town Clock Business Center for a conference there. You can get more information on our homepage at alzheimerspeaks.com. What else do I want to tell you about? Oh, don't forget to check out the Caregiver Alert Center. They just have great information where you can sign up and help prevent your loved one from going missing in terms of dealing with that process. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful resource. They have it for caregivers. They have it for your pets, your children, your college students, and even if you travel abroad, just a wonderful resource to have ahead of time in case something would happen. And it's very economical, under $15 a year. And again, don't forget to check out gofreshbooks.com/alive and also audibletrial.com/social. Both you can get your free 30-day trials. And if you are interested in getting your free memory chip, which teaches you how to really focus on being person-centered by kind of sliding those tasks over and focusing on, are they safe, are they happy, are they pain-free, go to alzheimerspeaks.com for all of our tools. And you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll talk soon.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors, from fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.